Let me ask you something. Are you getting everything out of your rent-to-own business? If you're not an APRO member, then the answer is probably no. Look, advocacy is APRO's bread and butter. This is why they were created and what they do best. But here's the thing. APRO membership is about way more than advocacy. APRO connects you to the movers and the shakers of the industry, people who've been there, done that, and they can help you do it even better. APRO's monthly webinars give you expert insights and actionable takeaways. It's like having a masterclass for your business every single month. Got questions about complex regulations or sticky situations? No problem. APRO's legal hotline gives you direct access to experts who have got the answers. That's a peace of mind that you can't put a price on. And let's not forget the resources, news, updates, and tools that keep you ahead of the curve. Scholarships for your team? Check. Disaster relief when you need it most? Double check. APRO is your ultimate support system in the rent-to-own world. So stop settling for less. With APRO, members get more. More support, more connections, and more success. Head over to rtohq.org and join the APRO family today. Because in this business, more isn't just better. It's essential. See you at the top with APRO. Welcome to the RTO Show. I'm your host, Pete Shau. Today, we're talking to Charles Smitherman, the CEO and the man of the hour at APRO. And listen, we had a great RTO World. It was amazing. Despite everything that happened, Charles, with like the weather and stuff, I think it turned out great. I had a great time, and we're doing it again, right? This is Hello Orlando. We've done Hello Indy, right? Well, we're doing something a little bit different. And so as we go along and we talk to everybody about everything that's happened, I wanted to always bring your perspective in it because it's been such a great culture change from what's happened and what's happening. How's everything going, Charles? How are you doing?
Good. Yeah. I'm finally decompressing a little bit after a very busy July, getting ready for the event, and then a very busy week in Orlando, and then a trip back to Orlando last week for the Buddies Conference. So
let me ask you a question. One of the things I want to know, because a lot of people don't understand this, is there is a process that goes into setting this up. I mean, you start almost like a couple of years out, and then the year into it, you really get narrowed in. So there's a lot that goes behind the scenes to get, the RTO World 2024, 2025, or what's coming up going, right?
Yeah, and I mean it's a very in-depth process. I mean, we are we're booked. We have 25 and 26 booked, but we're already and we're beginning the process now to look for a location for 27. So really, being 3 years out is kind of the norm right now in this kind of event space industry, and making sure we get a good venue and a good something that works for us. We've got kind of a criteria. There are a number of kind of things that, essential boxes that we need to check and that we want to check. And so it's just trying to find the right place and the right location and something new. We're not going back to the same place every year, but it's something we really just deliver on an exciting venue and memorable venue. Which I think Orlando did. So
wait. So whose idea was Orlando? So then back, you got to back up a couple of years. Whose idea was Orlando? Was it your idea, or was that already in the works?
I inherited Orlando, fortunately, because it was a great choice for us. I think the venue worked out exceptionally well. I think so. That was one. Kind of coming out post pandemic, there was a bit of a kind of a reshuffle. There was high demand. There was a lot of pent up demand from people not having conferences for a couple of years. And so it was hard to find a venue. And then fortunately we had some assistance in this location in Orlando to get it lined up. So that was right before I got here. And so next year will kind of be the first one that
you lucked out. Well, listen, so something that I've always wanted to know is that, so APRO, this is one of the biggest situations that happen in one of the biggest conventions where everybody gets together and every manner of RTO person and owner and person likes to come in, vendors and all. How is TRIB directly associated with this? Because I know that, everything that happens is either associated in some way with APRO or some way with TRIB. And then this is a combination effort, right? So how does that work? How How does that happen?
Yeah, so we a few years ago, whenever RTO World started, that was a collaboration and partnership with APRO and TRIB Group. TRIB brings a lot of expertise in terms of putting on a great expo. Dennis and his team, they really do a great job with that. And so I think there were a number of factors in play with really trying to really have kind of two main RTO events. I mean, we've got other ones related with Nationwide has their two events each year. Brand Source has theirs. TRIB has their show in the spring. And so APRO before had its own show, and then there was almost too much. And I think that a number of those things kind of led to the RTO World partnership. And so we are, I think we're growing it each year. I think we're getting better and better each year. And that's always the goal. We're kind of in that process now of the autopsy, so to speak, of what went well, what didn't, how can we make it even better next year? So,
Right. Well, I have to agree, because there are a couple of things that go on, and then, if you have too many, it's almost too hard to get to, right? Because then there's so much going on. It's like I can't be away from that much. But it does seem like to get grander and grander every year. Talking about getting grander, we had a couple events that actually took kind of place pre-APRO show, kind of like a little bit early. So we had the legal summit and the women's forum that kind of happened. Can you describe a little bit, like, where did these things come from? Like what brought these on, and what was the main factor that was like, we should have this for them ahead of time?
Well, we are bringing everyone together for these events, and we do have kind of a number of things that are important components of it, with our education sessions on the first day, the hot show, the expo hall, and all the networking that goes on in between. What we really kind of see with a lot of other conferences and associations is the idea of the pre-conference, where it's if you really opening up kind of deep dive, concentrator pointed discussions, meetings at the beginning, or really kind of the day before the conference officially opens. And so we really wanted to kind of give that a try. And there were really two important issues that came when discussing what we could do that I think came out of it. We usually run a legal track in the education session. But the idea of doing a really focused 3-hour session on legal issues, and there are a lot of them, and we've had a pretty busy year, and especially over the last month. So there was a lot of content and a lot of things that we wanted to really get into and really invite both APRO members and non-APRO members in to kind of have this discussion, really talk about these issues that's really affecting the industry and the things that are on the horizon with that. So that was an idea that was put out there by Justin Hosey and Daley Wilson from Hudson Cook. We started talking about this over a year ago, of the idea of doing a really concentrated legal summit and trying to bring in all this expertise into the same room and have that conversation about how we focus on compliance and make the industry stronger and safer by discussing those issues and being aware of them. So that was a big idea and a big step we took with that. I feel like it was very successful. We had 83 registered attendees for it. Honestly, I was hoping 25 or 30 whenever we first kind of started off.
Yeah, I was there. I showed up. I'm not gonna lie. I showed up. Well, because I want to explain this a little bit. So there's a panel, right? So there's a panel of different people, and I'm guessing, for the lack of better terms, a bunch of lawyers who understood a lot more of what happens behind the scenes in rent-to-own than I do. And so you come in and you kind of introduce them, and then you give them a segment to really kind of dive a little deeper into each individual situation that they have and why it's important, what they're talking about. And so they start going into this thing, and it starts really getting kind of deep. How important is it then at that point? So when you have 83 versus what you thought of, 25, 30, is that considered a success? Did we talk to the people that we need to? Did we get it? Did we get it out there?
I mean, I feel like given the people that were in the room, that participated in this represents a significant segment of the industry on the legal and compliance portion, whether that's in-house counsel for a number of these companies, outside counsel with Hudson Cook, Burr and Foreman, that helped do the Pope Law Firm that helped do the panel discussions. And so, that's kind of, in terms of, our mandate with APRO is protecting, safeguarding the industry. And you can do that. That's a multifaceted approach, whether it's going to Capitol Hill and meeting with legislators. But there's a lot we can do in terms of self-regulation and promoting best practices internally that allows us to go up to DC and tell these guys, you don't need to regulate us because we're doing that ourselves. And so, yes, I think having the knowledge and the expertise that was in that room discussing specifically RTO issues, I'm not sure that's ever happened. That was, I think we got a lot accomplished in seeing what those discussion points were, what the differences were, where our common points are too, so we can move forward off of that.
Charles, I got to tell you, it was great. I loved it. But when you're watching a football game and there's somebody on the side that's kind of doing the fingering thing, they're doing it in a language that other people understand. We need to do that for the legal summit for people like me that show up. You just need to have somebody on the side. This is what that means. Because there was so much going on, and there was so much knowledge and so much factual situation going on. I was just like, oh my God, there's a world beyond this that I have no idea what's going on. And it was so great to hear, but there was a lot of things that I was like, oh my God, I wish I had an interpreter over there to kind of, to special tell me, hey, this is what that means. So if you have any questions, come on, I can tell you what that is. So the legal part is a great hit. I mean, we have them sitting up there as a panel, and they did a great job not only telling us what's going on, but kind of talking to us about what was brought up as individuals were kind of saying, hey, this is what I think, or hey, what does that mean? Or hey, what's going on with this? And they did a great job of that. So we possibly go into next year doing this again. Then we have the Women's Forum. Now, whole different situation, and I wasn't able to be in there as long as I wanted to. I had a lot of setup and stuff going on, and I kind of missed a chunk of it. Who was actually the big speakers in that one?
So that was an interesting setup, and I want to just particularly mention Jen Troke, who really who brought this idea forward and really helped a lot and bring it into fruition. And so she did a great job with that. She had a vision for it, and I think it really it lined up with what we were hoping for. So basically, that was there was a panel discussion at the beginning, and that was Lauren Talitska, Kathy Windsor, and Julia Gonzalez led the panel discussion, and then I think that was about an hour, and then everyone broke up into roundtables, and we had a number of different topics really up for discussion. I think we called it like a world cafe. There was really mixing a bit of a social aspect with let's talk about some important issues that are facing the industry, facing women in the industry, some of the challenges that they're faced, and really just trying to make some connections and networking. I mean, we've got a great conference. There's a lot. We pack a lot into a few days. And so really kind of giving that opportunity that wasn't just a pure drinks reception or hot show or, running into someone on the trade show floor. It was a good way to bring a group in to talk about some common issues and some common challenges and solutions. So
talking about that female representation and how important it is I mean, you've been doing this for a little while now, so you can see it. And when we just need to be honest about it sometimes, do you see that maybe they're not represented enough? Maybe is this a male dominated industry? I kind of see that myself, and something that I noticed. So when I was at the Buddies, the Buddies Better to Best, and the convention that just happened last week or the week before. And so we were there, and they were giving away awards. and you've got to understand this because this shocked me to death. They're giving away awards, and one of the awards that they were giving away is $1 million stores. And so as the names are going on, I'm noticing that there are a lot more women up there than there are men, right? They're representing a huge chunk. I want to say in my calculations, and my calculations can be very, very off, 65% or so, 60%, 65%, it was dominated by the women. And so it's like one of those things like, are we not leveled out enough? And what can we do about that to get this to happen? And then I start thinking, well, we had a women's forum, and that is the greatest way to bring acknowledgement to that and say, hey, you know what? A little bit of diversity in the sense that we could use to have somebody speaking on their behalf. And listen, Jen, amazing job. Great idea. I love what she does. And she always has the best ideas. Anytime I need like a 2-minute idea that's going to take me from here to here, I just call Jen and she's like, boop. And I'm like, why did I think of that? But she does such a great job. And so as she was putting that together, who else do you say spoke? Because you said Lauren was there. And I know that, was Cindy Hyduke a part of that as well?
Cindy was there. Tricia Fisher really helped, kind of as the co-chair, and we had a committee that really kind of helped develop the ideas and kind of bring that together. And yeah, I think that I think RTO has a history of some really great and influential women in terms of particularly on the APRO board, officers in APRO. Yeah. And so I think that, like I said, it's just really kind of, this was a way that was different than just running into someone in the halls or hoping to meet someone or you hear about someone. This was a way to really bring a group together and to kind of be able to get to know each other. And then I think hopefully, what we're going to see is like a continued community that comes out of that will, continue to grow and support each other. And so, I think there are all types of groups and people with specific interests and specific things. And this is one of those, and one that we felt like was a really good opportunity here. And there are more. And I think that's something that we want to continue to explore and promote and try to do similar type things in the future.
I definitely agree with that. So speaking about new, so we do the legal summit, we have the women's forum, then we got a bunch of new vendors that came in. I got some people that I really didn't know. And I'm kind of used to walking around and seeing the guys I know. And there was a few people that I didn't know. Who was new this year? Who was bringing something a little bit different with a little bit of different flavor? Something that, the APRO guys, or gals who are in there, the TRIB members should look at and go, you know what? They did have something different. They did bring something to the table. Who were those guys?
Yeah, I mean, we had, I believe, 15 new vendors this year. And, this is kind of the great thing about the APRO show. And this is really why that it is the largest show. We had 107 total vendors.
Wow.
That was up by, I think, 5 or 6 from last year, even though we were in a smaller space. So, the great thing about the APRO show, it is open. It's a great way for a company that has a service, that has a product, that has something that would be of interest or use for the industry to come in and try it. You have to either be a TRIB member or an APRO member to come into the show. But it really provides that chance to test the waters and to see if there's traction, there's interest with it. And we had a full range of that this year. I mean, that was 15. That's got to be kind of towards our, I think, a higher point. New furniture, new insurance services, credit card processing.
Yes, there was a lot. There was a lot. I actually did see the insurance people, and you guys got to understand, if you not made it to RTO World at any point at this point, so you usually have the main vendor hall, and here we are to getting to the vendor hall. There was like there's got at least 20 vendors out there. I want to say more, but there was so many vendors just getting to the hall. And that's what he's talking about. Like, we had so much going on there that just getting there was left and right. There was so much being offered. Then as soon as you walk through the door, you've got this floor plan of just amazing different people. And it's just one of those things where you start seeing a lot of new people. Now, you got to let them know, because I know that they're new vendors. Hey, not always everything happens in the first year. People got to get to find out who you are, right? And what kind of, what do you offer? So, I always encourage new vendors. And if that's you, listen, guys, keep coming back. They open up. They want to know what's going on. If you didn't talk to somebody then, you might talk to somebody new the next time you go, and they could possibly be using your services. So it was great to see all the new vendors. I mean, it was an amazing amount.
Yeah. And I think just all credit to Dennis Shields. He is a master at putting these floor plans together. And, one of the challenges we had with this venue, great hotel, just a great setup for us. But with it being kind of a hotel conference center, that is usually on the smaller end of what we need. And so we were in a more condensed space, but I never felt it. I don't know. The exhibit hall looked amazing. And with just everything, with the drapes, the carpet, everything just looked great. But then part of a necessity of that was we didn't have as much room in the vendor hall. So we overflowed into that foyer space. And I think a lot of the new vendors really got a good taste, because you had to walk by those tabletops and those the 10 by 10s out in the foyer twice when you're on the way in and then on the way out. And so
yes, absolutely.
We had a lot of really good feedback from some of the new ones that were out there, and some of our veteran vendors too that really got a lot of saw a lot of people going in and got a chance to talk to people. So that worked out really well with that, and hopefully gave some of our new guys a good taste for it. But I'm with you. That's always one of the things that this is it's a good chance to come in with the APRO show, but with the RTO World, but it's also it's a bit of a commitment, in that you really need a couple of years to really get a good taste for it, for people to see you, trust you, know that you're not just kind of coming in and maybe gone the next day. So it provides a really good chance for that.
So we're talking about the vendor space. We're talking about how it is to get there. We're talking about it being in the hotel space and not where we're used to. So then you guys got to understand, this is my part of the show. We had a live RTO show podcast straight from the event, and we got moved to the back, and it was still great. It was an awesome time, but we got a big room. Instead of where I thought we were going to be, we got a really big room. Yeah. Charles, you had a chance. You had a chance to co-host a little bit. How was that? How did you feel about that?
I will not be quitting my day job anytime soon. I can tell you that. It was a lot harder than you make it look on these shows. But I think I was the Ed McMahon to your Johnny Carson.
Hey, but you know what? It played well. Okay, it played well.
A lot less funny, but yeah,
played good. So as you're up there, right, and you start seeing people interact, and you start seeing people have the questions and kind of asking the panel. So we're going to go back to the visual, guys. Right now, you got to understand, Charles and I sitting in front of the room, we're sitting behind the mics, and we're in a room full of people. And then to our left, there's 4 panelists. Now, these guys know what they're talking about, but they were brought in to talk about different sections of rent to own and what they represent. So at first, we had Chip Guy. So at the time, the vice president of, the vice president of Buddy's Home Furnishings, Buddy Mac Holdings, and he's talking about AI. Now, this is something that everybody in rent to own has been talking to me about. That has not changed at all. Then Jerry Marshall gets to come in, and he's talking about growth despite what's going on and how to manage that growth and when is a good time for growth. And he made some really good points. People was his main people was the main point. Then we had Ed Wynn talking legal counsel. Wow. He kind of blew me away. Did a great job. As a matter of fact, he did a better job than I expected. So be looking to look out, because you will talk to Edwin. We will talk to Edwin soon, because let me tell you, he was quite the superstar in what he had to say. And then Joe Luxick talking about the differences between generations and the buying power and how they utilize that buying power. What are they focused on in today's age and how we can shift with that? I couldn't think of 4 better topics or 4 people that represented those topics any way better. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? What did you take out of that?
Let's take a quick break.
Hey everyone, it's Pete Shau here from the RTO Show podcast, and I want to tell you about a company that's making a real difference in the rent-to-own space, Wow Brands. I've seen firsthand how they approach marketing, and let me tell you, it's not just about ads. Wow Brands builds complete digital ecosystems designed specifically for the rent-to-own industry. Their e-commerce and lead generation strategies are built to bring in qualified leads. And did I mention that they are actively working with the rent-to-own industry while also being members of APRO and TRIB? Listen, these folks are passionate problem solvers. They don't just slap something together. They design, build, and scale the kind of digital retail tools your business needs and your customers actually want. So if you're serious about growing, reach out to Wow Brands at wowbrands.com. I trust them, and I think you will too.
Well, no, I love the format and really having. I mean, you did a great job with the four people that you had coming in, because you really. I was sitting there taking notes as well. Not only
right,
it was a very interesting discussion. I mean, I think all of them were very topical and on point issues, things that we all, it's on top of everybody's mind, particularly like with Chip's AI discussion. That blew me away with some of the things that he was thinking about, just how quick that whole area has moved. And then, culture and generational issues are always a big thing. Legal's always there hanging in the background, and you couldn't have found anybody better than the godfather of RTO to come in and talk about that. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, when Edwin was talking, you got to understand, no matter what you're doing and no matter what's going on, when you're in one of those big studio environments and you're in big settings, people talk, there are things going on. I have never seen somebody so quietly command a room in my life. When he started speaking, the volume level in the entire place just started settling. And so he was able to keep just a very, very regular tone, and he just kind of commanded the room with the things that he was talking about. He was saying stuff that was happening in South Dakota, some of the stuff that we talked about in New York, and it was like he was just on top of it, fact after fact after fact, and what was going on and how it's gone through the years and why we've done some of the things we did. And so Michael Helton, he comes in and he's from RGCO, and he's got a lot going on and he's got a lot to say, and he asks a very direct, solid question. I won't get into that here, but he asked a solid question, and without missing a beat, I think Ed was able to tackle that just straight on, very, very to the point. It was such a breath of fresh air to have someone so knowledgeable and be able to spit out the facts the way he did and kind of control the room. I was in awe. I was like, I don't know, maybe he should be sitting here, talking to us. But so you don't think that you're going to be doing any co-hosting anytime soon?
Well, maybe next year.
Right? All right. That's the goal. Hopefully, listen, guys, the way this is going, we had such a good time there. I really believe that going into 2025, RTO World in Omaha, we're going to have a session for you that's going to be way better than this. And not just because of where it was or what happened, but because you guys are so involved in what's going on and you're such a part of it that I can't believe that it won't be anything more than amazing come next year. Because I really think this is what it's about. People want to hear the events and what's going on now. And it's going to also give us a little bit of time to get your feedback. Guys, if you ever have any feedback, please hit us up at the show, thertopodcast.com. Hit me up on the DMs. But let me know what it is you want to know about, even if it's 12 months out, because then I can get with Charles and we can find out who's the right person to answer those questions for you and really put them on the show and make that another situation happen for the RTO World 2025. So talk to me about Omaha a little bit. We're going from Orlando to Omaha. Like that's a whole big difference. But then, like you said, it was more of a hotel kind of conference setting versus what a convention center can do in Omaha. So besides the stakes, what does Omaha bring to RTO World 2025?
Well, we heard the concerns about hurricane season in Florida. So we are going to take that out of the equation, swing the complete other way of the pendulum, and be hopefully, knock on wood, in a hurricane safe zone next year. So, I mean, Omaha it's one of those. I think it's really kind of a blank slate in a lot of ways for us, because not many people have been. You've either been or you haven't had a reason to go. And I think it's one of those places that you're probably not, not necessarily on top of a list to go spend a weekend or vacation, but Omaha is just a great city. It's about as central in the States as we could get. And they have just a great setup for us. I mentioned earlier, we're kind of looking at kind of criteria. One of our top things is we're kind of in a Goldilocks zone. We can't have a space that's too small, which is lots of hotel space, convention spaces or meeting spaces. But we're not big enough to go and do rent out like, the Atlanta World Congress Center with its 1 million square feet of expo space. So there's a bit of a mix there that we have to really play with in finding that sweet spot. We really have high priorities to try to get everyone or as many as possible into one hotel where we've got kind of a central place we're all staying. We've got common areas to pass everyone. We've got a central bar, restaurant that we can kind of meet each other throughout the event. So Omaha really, we want to be close enough to some of our dealers. Omaha was one of those places that was really checked a lot of those boxes. It's got a great airport that's less than 5 minutes from the hotel. We've got a convention center that is just an incredible convention center. They host, they've hosted a lot of events there. The U.S. swimming Olympic trials were held there for several years. They lost it this year to Indianapolis, but it's amazing when you see them construct like in a convention center, literally an Olympic-sized swimming pool. And so they've hosted that. And it's also the home of the College World Series. And the College World Series stadium is literally kind of almost in the parking lot of the hotel. So we've got a hotel everyone can be in. We've got a great convention space. We've got something that's close to an airport, easy to get in and out of. College World Series, they're used to hosting big events. And it's got a great downtown, local restaurants, local bars. It's just a great scene to really kind of, enjoy being somewhere, not only just going on a business trip that could be, anywhere. I think it'll be a memorable event in that respect. And I think I'm very confident people are going to come out wow, Omaha was that was a great place to go to.
Well, I think I talked about it with Chaz Fosdick a while ago, and I'm going to say it to you. If you were to take the map of America and you were to throw a dart as close to the center as you could, that would give you the flyover state of Nebraska. But being that you have a lot of space where you can put a lot of people, have a lot of event space where you can do things that you haven't done before. And I'll tell you right now, I love what's going on with APRO. It seems like every time we turn around, there's something new going on. And it's just one of those things where it makes it worthwhile for somebody to go somewhere they haven't been, learn things that they haven't learned, see people that they haven't seen, and talk to people that they've wanted to talk to, but they couldn't have. And that's why I love doing the podcast. That's why I love introducing people who are so huge into the business, with the people who may not have met them before, not seen. Hey, how does Ed Wynn play such a role in my rent-to-own career as an account manager? Well, the laws that we go by are probably helped, written, and passed by Ed. And those things, wow, I didn't know that. And I love passing that knowledge on to people because it really just gets them to understand there is so much of a world out there that they just don't know about. And so the idea of the show was always to bring that to the forefront. So going to Omaha, can't wait. I'm actually looking forward to it. If you guys are looking forward to it too, make sure that you get a hold of me and let me know, because I'd love to have all kinds of show ideas come the next 12 months. Talking about show ideas, we left sunny Florida. We went all the way to Omaha. We got all the good things. What's with the executive challenge and how will it be next year? Come on, spill the beans. If you guys didn't see the executive challenge, it was all over the internet, but Charles and listen, Dennis and you guys play a pretty good Laurel and Hardy, man. I'm going to tell you right now, I saw you guys on stage. You guys were singing. Let's break into this first. So right now, the executive challenge came towards the last day, but there was fundraising that happened. during one of the nights of RTO World. Can you explain that a little bit? And then what was the prize that everybody got to have if we met that goal?
So, we had the venue for the experience party, and the experience party is kind of always we have it the last night of the show or the event. Always try to do something kind of with a local flair or something, hopefully that's memorable. So
it was memorable, Charles. It was memorable. I'm going to put a picture up just so you know. I'm going to put a picture up of what happened that night. But yes, it was definitely memorable.
Well, that way, you can remember RTO World 2024 in Orlando. And so that was, it was a great venue for us because it was basically, we were on Universal property and this was on site, easy to get to for the boat or the bus or walking on the path. And it was just a great venue. And so we kind of, we had 3 bars and a nice common area with a DJ and stilt walkers and food. And but I think the idea kind of came to us that we're having, we're going to have 500 plus people at this event. And we've got an open bar. And we've also got a karaoke and not just a karaoke, like a professional backup singer, band, lights, everything in a theater type setting. And that, so we kind of, we're always looking for something fun ways to do, particularly when you can throw fundraising in. And, with us, with APRO, we have the APRO Charitable Foundation, which supports really 2 things. One, scholarships for the RTO family, whether that's anyone that's an employee of an RTO company is eligible. Their children of them are eligible. They're seeking any type of higher education, trade school, things of that nature. We also have a disaster relief fund. That if anyone in the RTO family is ever involved in some type of an event that involves a major loss, that there's some support to help to get them back on the feet. This is all member funded, all supported. But we really started we had just gone through a round of scholarships. So we do that every summer. We'd hit the 1.1 million mark this year, and $1.1 million in scholarships that the APRO Charitable Foundation has given out. And, we're always looking at ways to kind of to do some fundraising to generate some more money so we can give out more scholarships. And open bar and karaoke provided a good opportunity to do that. That was it. Yeah. So I went to my team with the idea, and I kind of workshopped it with Dennis and a few other people before, and said, hey, and they were like, yeah, okay, this sounds good. Well, I went to my team, and they came up with the whole idea of. I went in with one idea. They came back and said, we're going to do it this way, and then by the way, if we get to the $15,000 mark, you and Dennis have to end the evening with a song. So
guys, you got to understand how it works. So there's levels, right? And as the night's going on, and when it first got on, it was running a little slow, and the fundraiser wasn't on everybody's mind, because what is everybody doing? They're going to the bar, they're saying hi to everybody, they're meeting people that they haven't seen in a while. And so it started off kind of slow. And so we're like, we've got to figure out how we can get these levels going, because at different levels, we had Dan Fisher singing, we had Jerry Marshall singing, right? So and depending on what level you got to, depending on who you got to see. Listen, nobody wanted to see Charles and Dennis sing more than me and Joe, right? And Joe wanted to see it too. So we go over there, we get online, and Joe Luxy, listen, he loves the business. He loves everything that's going on. And he's like, hey, Pete, we should do this. So we get in there, and now we're cheerleading this on. We're trying to get stuff going. And then it starts picking up. And so before we know it, we're jumping spots. They're like, okay, this person's supposed to sing because they're already on this person. And so there's so many things going on, and there's so many people. Cleek is up there. All these people are up there. And we get to the end of the night, and then Charles and Dennis, hand in hand, get to sing Sweet Caroline. And let me tell you, so everybody's going on, and I think I lost part of my voice that night. So me and Joe are in the front. We're trying to cheerlead, and we're just getting it on. And it was so great because we went from 15,000 to what, 25,000? Is that right?
We ended up topping out at 28,000.
Wow.
For this, so we almost doubled the goal.
Listen, guys, it's not possible without people like you to help. And it's so important because we don't do this ourselves. Listen, APRO's not for profit. And I tell you right now, the RTO show is definitely not for profit. We do this because we love rent to own. And the reason that we get you guys involved is because we need your help. And it was so amazing to see everybody get together and hit that goal. 15,000. I was like, wow, we hit 20,000. I was shocked. By the time that we're singing Sweet Caroline, dun, 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 everybody, we're hitting these 25,000. It was just amazing to see everybody come together and be so supportive for these emergency funds and for these scholarships, because it really is one big family in RTO, and we're trying to make this work. And so you guys got to understand, I will be posting up a couple more pictures of that, Charles, because everybody's got to see you and Dennis singing. And then, of course, as we get through that, we raise the money for the foundation. Then the next day we got the executive challenge. So although we're showing camaraderie that night and we're singing together, then we got to head. So talk to me a little bit about the executive challenge and where that ended up, because it was all over the place, quite literally all over the place.
Yeah. So I guess last year was the first year we did it. We're always looking for some ways to try to make the last morning of the expo increase some traffic, make it a little bit more exciting. So it was kind of an idea that we would do some type of a friendly competition. And Jennifer Moore really takes the lead on coming up with those challenges and does a good job of not telling myself or Dennis what those are going to be. So we kind of find out what they are.
That's awesome.
At the time of presentation.
So you guys got to understand there was a couple of different things going on. So what was the first challenge like?
So the first one was kind of a beer pong without the beer. We had to.
Listen, we know you've been to college, Charles. I will not tell you how well he did or did not do, but the beer pong challenge was awesome. We were making that happen. Dennis, a pro himself, I don't know where he got it from, but it was a pretty good challenge. It was fun to see because there was actually no alcohol involved, which we kind of, that might have changed things up a little bit too much, but that was so much fun. So then, who won that challenge?
I think we may have tied on that one.
Okay.
I think it was one of those we had to dump some ping pong balls out of a tissue paper box. Whoever got them in as quick as possible. It was very close. I think the entire thing was pretty close.
It was close. So they start off hands tied. They get the balls out. They're shooting it. And then as you're going from event to event, it was like 3 events total, right? Or was it 4?
4 or 5, I think. Yeah.
So the last event, you got to understand one of them ends up with Charles with a balloon sticking to his chest as he goes back. And he looks like a rendition of Alien with a balloon coming out. It was amazing to see, and it was fun to watch. But in all honesty, it was great to see how you and Dennis were able to come together and do this. And when I say that, you and Dennis, the representatives of APRO and TRIB, to get this done kind of seamlessly. And, I've got to say thank you to Dennis and thank you to TRIB and yourself. So as things were going on, one of our sponsors, who was literally sitting in front of the vendor hallway or the vendor hall, right at the end of the hallway, was Gerard Norman Marketing. And so because we're teamed up with them, we got to set up the booth there, and we literally were able to have several people talking to us about what was going on and what their thoughts of the show and their thoughts of what they did. And we have marketers there, and we had people from other businesses, and we had single store owners, and Chad Fosdick was there, and there was just so much going on. This was an event to be had. And I'm so glad that we get to do these renditions and going back over them and how we did this and how crazy it was, but also kind of be reminded that that camaraderie in the RTO world. And when I say that, I mean, I don't know, kind of pun, like RTO World, because of RTO World and things like TRIB being able to be a part of it and APRO being able to be a part of it, having these new vendors there, having a lot of people who we can say, hey, you know what, they were new to the industry, and this can give them a taste, and they don't have to be full on in, but you get to see, hey, is this something I want to do? Is this something that I want to be a part of? And the camaraderie that happens in those situations when you have old vendors and new vendors, people that are coming up, people that are leaving, and They get to all see this space all together. We get to see the legal summit. We get to hear about why we're there, what we get to learn. Then you get to break off in these sessions and you really get to hear from people who have done it and keep doing it and doing it well. And every year we have these new topics that get brought up. And you know what? We get to talk about all these new things together as a team. And one of these breakouts, well, part of the breakout sessions is participation. Right? Yeah. If you have a question, you get to join in and you get to say, hey, what about this? Or what's going on with that? Or I had a question about this, and you're in a safe space. It's okay to have one of those questions, and you'll have somebody who has the expertise in that area really be able to break it down to you, for you, or say, you know what? I don't have an answer to that, but I can bring it up to several people who have been doing this for years, for literal decades, sometimes generations, and maybe we can give you a better answer soon. In all cases, in all honesty, I'm going to say, I think the best part was the RTO Show live podcast, but everything else was so great and it was so nice to be a part of it. That was one facet of what was an excellent RTO World convention. I got to tell you, Charles, I think it is. I'm worried that you're going to get to a point where I don't know how to top this last year. We're going to have to figure it out. There's going to be so much going on. And you know what? Because it's heading that direction, I think it's heading in the right direction. I really do.
Yeah, I mean that's always the challenge. I think we want to how to make it better whenever, especially coming off of something like this. I mean, I think just from start to from our opening keynote with Louis Gravance, and that was that was probably one of the best, if not the best, keynotes I've ever seen. And that was going through all the education, all the networking that took place. And so yeah, I mean that's what we're literally, our RTO World Committee is meeting next week to digest the feedback and what went well. We do glows and grows, what was great and where things we can get better at. And that's just that's our focus, is just continuing to do better. And I think we've got a great venue next year. It's going to be something new for everyone. I think it's going to be just a great setup for us. And I'm very excited about Omaha and what in our 2025 show coming up.
Well, listen, everybody, I do want you to know you probably got something in your emails that said, hey, how was RTO World and how can we make it better? If you weren't able to get to that email, because I think the time frame is already closed, feel free to email me at the show. All right. Hit me up at Pete at the RTO Show podcast. Send me an email. You can also DM me at Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. We're pretty big on all those platforms, and send me a message and say, hey, I missed it, but this is something that I'd like to see, or this is something that I thought could be better. And I will definitely pass that along for you because listen, we want to make this better for you. We want you to learn. We want you to buy. We want you to enjoy. This is a time when everybody gets together for the betterment of RTO, and hence the name RTO World 2024 going into 2025. Charles, it's always a pleasure to have you on. One of these days, you're going to be right here. We're going to be talking to people, and it's going to be. I'm going to get you to kind of co-host a couple more for me. We have a lot of good things coming up, at least once a year, right? When it comes to RTO World, we're at least going to be a part of that. Because yes, everybody, I'm going to drag Charles into this and make sure that he does it with me because he did a great job. And one of those things I'd love to see is that when you have somebody in your position. Number one, you create a great culture. And number two, you're not so far away that somebody feels like they can't talk to you. And I can't tell you that I've met a lot of CEOs and I've met a lot of people who they're not bad people, but they have so much going on that they're kind of like away from it. And so you sometimes find it hard to talk to them and get your maybe your ideas out or your points across, or you don't feel like if you told that person what your idea is or what you thought might be better that anybody's listening. Right? They might hear you, but they're not listening. And I think you embody that very well. I think you have a very open standpoint. I think people feel like they can go to you and say, hey, Charles, this is what I think was going on. And good or bad. I mean, it doesn't mean that everything gets put in there. I don't think we're going to have a lotto drawing in 2025. But it's one of those things that being so approachable and being so down to earth gives you that leg up on somebody who, when they don't have that, it's a bringing of culture and people, right? And people make RTO World. Without you guys, we wouldn't have it. So to make it better for you, send me any suggestions that you have. If not, you can also feel free to hit up APRO. I think if you hit up with me first, though, I'm just going to put a little slide to it. I'm going to say, hey, this is what my guys are thinking, and let's make that happen. Charles, always good to have you on. Always good to have you a part of what's going on. Listen, is there anything that you can tell us right now about RTO World 2025? A little bit of a secret that's going to happen over there, or should we just wait in the winds and hopefully we're going to get an email soon?
Well, we're starting now on getting ready for it. I mean, I can tell you that I'm pretty excited. I don't have a contract in place yet to be able to, we could share where the experience party is going to be, but I'm pretty excited about some of that the Omaha experience is going to be an exciting event not to miss. And I think I'm just, Omaha is just going to be a really good spot for us. And so I think it's going to be a cool town, a really great place to visit. But we have set the goal, and we'll be working hard towards making it the best one yet. And that's growing and continuing to do some cool things like we did this year with the RTO show. Like we did with some of the fundraising things. I mean, just trying to introduce like we did with the pre-conferences. So, we're very open towards kind of these trying some new things and really kind of making this a great experience. And because, like you said, this is the biggest gathering of RTO of the year, and we can do that and make it a great, bring that community together. And share experiences, network, do fun things together, buy some things, all those things, learn some things. When you kind of combine all that in, that's the keys to success for a great show. So I'm excited. I think you'll be hearing more and more as we kind of hype and promote it over the coming months, and then we'll be ready to do this all over again next August.
Well, listen, guys, next year we're going to be having Hello Omaha. It's going to be coming straight to you. If you guys have any questions, any ideas, or anything that you want to talk to Charles about, again, feel free to hit up the show at pete@the RTOshowpodcast.com. Hit us up on the DMs. And I'm going to tell you, Charles, you're going to have to stay with me this next year. But everybody, get your collections low, get your sales high. Have a great one.
Thanks, Pete.